Fitness influencers will tell you that you need a low carb diet to control insulin and lose fat. They got that wrong. You don't need a low carb diet to lose fat. But I also got low carb diets wrong. And not by saying they don't work, but completely missing how and when they do. My name is Adam, I'm a performance nutritionist, and I've helped over 200 men lose fat and keep it off. I'm going to talk you through why most fitness influencers are wrong and the strategy that I've rarely seen anyone talk about. Most fitness influencers treat low carb like a cult. You're either in or you're out. It has to be every meal, every day. It goes beyond food, it becomes a thing you are, a low carb person. And that's where it goes wrong. Because the men who struggle most with low carb aren't failing because they lack willpower or discipline. They're failing because they're trying to maintain a strict carb restriction on a Tuesday night when they're eating with their family and it's pasta night. So then you end up quietly breaking the rule and feeling like you've ruined everything, or you eat nothing and spend the whole meal thinking about food instead of the conversation you're supposed to be having. And either of those is not a sustainable way to live. Here's the thing most people miss. Low carb isn't a diet you should live on. It's a tool you pick up on specific days or weeks. And the days it works best are not the days you're at home with a food scale and a meal plan. It's the days when you're in an environment that's completely out of your control. So if we look at one of the largest trials ever published, it took 600 adults, split them into two groups, one eating low fat and one eating low carb. That's for a full year. Both groups had intensive coaching throughout. After 12 months, the low fat group had lost around 5.3 kilograms. The low carb group had lost around 6 kilograms. So there was a bit of a difference, but less than a kilogram with a year of effort. They also tested whether specific people, like with genetic profiles or higher insulin levels, did better with a low carb diet. There was no meaningful difference there either. The reason I'm telling you this isn't to just dismiss low carb diets, but it's to free you from the idea that there's something metabolically special happening when you remove carbs. There isn't. Your body doesn't burn fat faster because insulin's lower. You lose fat when you eat less than you burn, and that's what's actually happening. But low carb just makes it easier for certain people in certain situations to do that. It removes an entire food group. Which brings me to the part that actually matters. When you're eating at home, cooking your own food, you can see everything. You know how much oil went into the pan and you know what's in the sauce. You're in control of every ingredient. Now when you're eating out, you're not. The butter they finish your steak with, you didn't see that. The cream in the sauce, you don't know how much or what type. And the oil the vegetables were roasted in, you have no idea. Even salads are doused with oil. Restaurant kitchens cook with significantly more fat than most people use at home. And there's almost nothing you can do about it apart from maybe interrogating the waiter about every dish. And that doesn't always go well. I've tried it myself. So in this situation, fat becomes what I'd call a fixed cost. It's already in the meal. You can't remove it, you can't see it, and trying to negotiate it out is like a bit of a waste of time. But carbs, you can see those. The bread basket, the side of rice, the pasta, the chips, the dessert. Those are sitting right in front of you, and every single one of them is optional. That's the shift. On these days where fats are non-negotiable, carbs become your only real lever. So instead of trying to eat low fat at a restaurant, which is basically impossible, you eat your protein, you eat the vegetables, and you leave the carb heavy sides. Here you haven't tracked a single thing. You have no idea what's in the sauce, but you've still controlled the only variable that was actually available to you. That's why when my client came back from his work trip, he actually lost weight. He wasn't doing keto and he wasn't being obsessive. He just stopped automatically eating the bread basket, the pasta, and the chips that came out with every meal. The rest took care of itself. There are only 2 rules here, and neither of them require an app. The first, on any day where you're eating out or traveling, assume fats are already handled. They're in the food whether you like it or not. Stop trying to manage them and start focusing on what you can actually control. The second, build every meal around protein and vegetables, then treat everything else as optional. And remember, not forbidden, just optional. That distinction matters. If you go in telling yourself you can't have carbs, you're back to the cult problem. Then the restriction becomes a point, and the moment you break it, you feel like you failed. Instead, the default is protein and vegetables. And if you're still hungry or genuinely want something else, you can add it in. You're making the decision, not breaking a rule. In practice, this is what it looks like. Let's say you're at an airport and breakfast is at a hotel buffet, lounge, or cafe. You get eggs, maybe some Greek yogurt, and deli meat. So you've got a high protein meal there. You skip the pastries, cereal, and the toast. This isn't because carbs are evil, but because you've already got what you need and the pastries aren't going to keep you more full for the flight anyway. Lunch, maybe it's a meal deal or a restaurant. You get a protein, grilled chicken or any type of chicken you can get, a burger without the bun, whatever's available. Then you swap the crisps or fries for a salad or extra vegetables if that's an option. If not, you don't stress about it. Dinner is a restaurant, let's say with your colleagues or maybe your family. I'm saying it's a work trip, so your colleagues. You order fish, steak, or chicken. Then you ask for extra vegetables instead of the starch. Hopefully they should do that. Then you avoid the bread basket and skip dessert, or maybe you split dessert with someone. You didn't count a single calorie and you didn't need to. And that's why you hear fitness influencers say calories don't matter. With this setup, you made carbs a thing you had to decide to add, rather than the thing that automatically goes with every meal. Okay, so like with everything, this framework is not black and white. If you're away with a family, you fancy a pasta dish for dinner. Follow the low carb approach during the day. Then, before you go out for dinner, this is what some people call protein loading, have a protein shake, a Greek yogurt, around 30 grams of lean protein. I'm talking 30 minutes before you go. You're going to arrive far less hungrier. You're not going to be stuffed by any means, you're just going to be less hungry and definitely not starving. Then go and enjoy your pasta dish for dinner. You've front-loaded the protein, you've taken care of that. Now you're the guy trying to get lean and healthy. You're not a fitness influencer. I spent years being more rigid about this than I needed to be. At one point, I believed low-carb diets were the only way, and I measured my daily ketones. My performance was shite. I didn't look the way I wanted to. I recommend using a low-carb diet as a tool when you need it, but do not use it as your default. Use this strategy when you feel the need and watch how well it works. But remember, most normal people will not find it sustainable, so do not make it your default. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and watch this video next. I'll see you there.